here, Myriad Magazine, Artist of the Week. You already know what it is. Today we got somebody very special. Go ahead and let the people know who you are.
Thank you.
Alright. What is it that you do? Tell everybody what you do.
So my career right now, I'm an actor. So I started acting when I was about 5 years old. My mom put me into it. My sister used to be a model, and basically, some lady from AT&T told my mom that I'd be a good actor one day, and my mom believed it. Yeah. So over the years, man, you know, she would always have me doing like auditions and paying like thousands of dollars at like John Robert Powers, John Casablanca, which really wasn't worth it because most of these places are just casting agencies, so they're not really in it to help you as an actor, and it's more so just we want your money. And I felt like after we were about like when I was about 10 or 11, my mom kind of caught on to this stuff, and we just started getting more and more interested. So talent agents like Lily's Talent, Babes and Bows, I can't remember all of them, but we used to be part of them. We had several agents, and then there was just this point where we're like, yo, man, this isn't really working the way we want it to work. So finally, we got ourselves an agent. It was Lily's Talent. There was this pilot series called The Healthologist, and mind you, I was 12 years old at this time. So yeah, like I had a series regular role when I was 12. The only issue was the pilot didn't get picked up. So, you know what I'm saying, that definitely didn't happen. And over time, you know, it was hard growing up and trying to act when I was still trying to learn how to grow up as an individual outside of acting, because, you know, I got cousins, brothers, sisters, and no one's really doing that. And like in Waukegan, you know what I'm saying, there's not really many people who are actors in terms of film and commercial. Yeah. It's usually theater, or you're in sports, or you know what I'm saying, art. I feel like art. Yeah, like I feel like art over there was just kind of overlooked sometimes, and it was just hard to really like self-motivate myself to say like this is what I want to do. Yeah. And eventually, I kind of just stopped acting, man. Like, as crazy as that sounds, like I would act and I would stop acting, I would act and I would stop acting, I would act and I would stop acting, and my mom kind of just got tired of it, man. I love that woman to death, but I used to put my mom through a lot of hell, man. We used to get in arguments all the time about little stuff. Like she would send me to an audition and wouldn't ask me if I wanted to do the audition because it wasn't even in my it wasn't in my control anyway. And I'd get mad, like, why are you even putting me in this? I don't want to do this. And she'd be like, Juan, you don't understand. You're talented. And I'm like, Mom, if I'm talented, why am I not getting paid? Like, you know, that was my outlook on it, because that's how I felt. Like, I didn't really understand that this is such a big waiting game, and you're going to get rejected way more than you're going to get accepted in this industry. And that's just something I have to accept. And over time, I got picked up by a really amazing group of people. They're called Management by Morgan. They literally took all the raw talent I had and honed it into like this beautiful work of art, basically, which has caused me to progress forward as an actor today. I'm not sure if you guys watched like Jurassic Park 3 or The Patriot or The Sixth Sense. Their child is literally in all of those movies. Really? Yeah, so that was kind of my mentor for a little bit, and he used to always tell me like, look, man, you have so much talent, but your work ethic isn't there. And that was really tough for me because I'm lazy, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm pretty lazy. I'm pretty lazy, and I just never really understood why I wasn't getting accepted. So finally, after, you know, tons of rejections, tons of auditions not working, I was like, you know what, man, you're right. I'm gonna try this. So what I did when I was in high school, I was like 14, 15, 16 at the time. I did short films for Columbia College students. Oh. Yeah, so I got my set experience while I was in high school. And that was because no one was really giving me that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one was giving me roles, so I had to go find it. You know, my agent was like, look, I'll put you in their talent pool, which is specifically meant for the college students who go there. And that was how I got a lot of my like opportunities to work. And mind you, amazing. Yeah, like a lot of people think that you could just jump into something and get paid automatically. Yeah. Like, nah, man, that you have to do free stuff before you can start getting paid. Like, that's just the way it is. Yeah. And that's the way I saw it. And so I just kept on doing short films, and I was booking it easily. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, this is the first time I feel good. Like, I know I'm not getting paid for this, but it feels good to be a part of this project. And I did Bling, which apparently was one of the biggest short films I've ever been a part of, and I didn't realize it. It was in like so many film festivals, and I still, to this day, it doesn't really dawn on me. It was played at Navy Pier's Expo in Chicago at some point. Like, it's literally just been all over the place.
Big look.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, man. That was the first IMDb credit I ever had in my life.
For real?
Yeah.
That's tough.
I was like, oh, what? That's crazy. I'm on IMDb now. And that was in 2014, man. And a year after that, I did another one. Not even a full year, about like a couple months. I did another short film. It was called Breakaway. One of the greatest short films ever. It was just comedy. It was just really funny. It was about skating. Mind you, I still can't skate. I can skateboard, but I can't roller skate. And so it was just really stupid. But it was cool though. It was not like stupid cool. It was really cool.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, man. And as we progressed forward from that short film, I was doing another short film. And now at this point, I haven't really gotten too much money. In between that short film and the other short film, I got to do The Onion. So I got to do like, it was some like kissing dad YouTube trend thing that I did. It was pretty funny. That was my first real check, man. I got paid like $500 and I felt like I was on top of the world. Cause I'm like 16, you know, like 15, 16 getting paid. I was like, wow, this is crazy.
So in terms of influences, who would you say inspires you to do what you do?
In terms of influences, man, I have several. Jean-Michel Basquiat as a painter has been one of like my influences whenever I learned about him. And then I have Will Smith. The whole Smith family, honestly, Jaden Smith, Willow Smith, Will Smith. Those are probably one of my biggest inspirations just because of the way they carry themselves. And I learned the work ethic from Will Smith. You know, I see how he works. I'm like, man, I need to get on his level. I learned the idea of just utilizing your platforms from like Jaden Smith. Like, I'm in this position, so let me use my resources around me and then create bigger and better things outside of my career path. You know what I'm saying? I also used to listen to like 500 motivational speeches every single day. I am not kidding you. I have a YouTube playlist that has about 200 motivational videos from Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Greg Platt, like legitimately just motivational videos so I could condition my mind to believe that, all right, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen, and I can't just keep getting upset that it's not working for me, and what works for someone else is not meant for you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own path. There's no linear way. So I just felt like those are probably my biggest inspirations.
All right, okay. All right, now, what do you plan to accomplish now? Now that you got some things under your belt, you know what I'm saying? What are you looking to do in the next few years?
Honestly, I want to stream and play League of Legends.
Oh, okay.
People don't realize it, but I'm in the top 1.5 percentile of League of Legends.
You want that Twitch money?
Yeah, I want that Twitch money.
Okay.
So, Twitch, I want to make music. I want to get my poems published so I can create a book. And honestly, I want to finish that book before I turn 20 years old. So I have about like a good 370 days until I can finish that book and just throw a lot of my poetry in it. Starting fashion lines. Like, honestly, I want to do everything. Like, I truly want to do everything. And as of right now, I'm using acting as that platform to get there. So everything that's under my belt right now is something I've worked for, and I'm going to work for other stuff through what I've reaped and sowed this entire time. So that's definitely my biggest goal, is just to use acting as a platform to get and create other cool stuff.
Nah, that's amazing.
And then eventually I did another short film. It was called Jungle Kids. Man, that short film, honestly, that put a lot like of pressure on me as an individual and as an actor, because they had us shooting that in 0-degree weather. Mind you, I want people to really like realize that there is no like heater next to me. We're in 0-degree weather outside in thin clothing, warming up doing takes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm 16, like I'm legitimately super young. And that's when it hit me like, man, is this really like the way that it's supposed to be? Like, is this how hard it is to be an actor? And it took a lot out of me, because I didn't really think that I would ever have to really go through that much torture at such a young age, which wasn't even torture. It was just pushing myself.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, it was pushing myself for something free. And you know the funniest part about that project? We still haven't finished it. And this was in like 2015. So that only shows like sometimes you'll do things and it just won't happen when you want it to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely understand that.
And that's just something I had to learn at a very young age. And I've had a lot of support from my brother, sister, mom, my second family, mainly my mom, man. My mom is like, mom is my biggest supporter.
That's great. That's good.
Every single time, yeah, man. And it's just crazy to see where I've come from and like I mean, I live in the projects. Like, I lived in the projects for all my life in Waukegan. If y'all know where Georgetown is, y'all know exactly where that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've grown up there, and like, it was times I couldn't come outside. Like, you know, my mom would tell me like, oh no, it's not safe outside, so don't go outside.
You gotta be in right now, yeah.
And so I'd stay in the house and just get really like,
in your head.
Yeah, you know, it was very hard, man. I just felt so secluded, and I just felt like everything I wanted was out of reach. You know what I'm saying? I always feel out of place when I go to my agencies, because I'm looking at all these kids, man, and I'm like, man, you know, these kids live in nice houses or in the city or in the suburbs, the nice suburbs, and I'm like, you know, I go home and it's like violence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I go home and I know what to expect. And then when I come here, that's the only time I really feel like I can escape as a human being was through acting. Because, man, growing up, I've always been that weird kid, and people just didn't understand it. Like, my cousins would tell you, like, I'd be wearing so many different kinds of clothes, and it just made sense to me. Like, it made sense to me. You know, it's like, what is wrong with this dude? Like, I'm like, nah, like, bro, it just makes sense to me. And so, it wasn't really anything different while I was growing up until the form that I lost who I was as an individual. Because when you're around something all the time that isn't you, you eventually will become that thing. Yeah. And that's what happened to me, is that like around, like, I'm not saying that there's people in Waukegan who are like great people to be around or not great people to be around, but there's a lot of people who are followers and they don't lead by example, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely a lot of bad people to be around.
No, exactly. Like, there's just a lot of bad influences, and that kind of took a toll on me, because if you're around it 24/7, you're eventually just going to become that. And that's what happened with me, and it took a lot out of me to like really gain control of myself. So, to show you guys what really happened, when I did that short film Breakaway, a year later, the director of that short film reached out for me for the Goodbye Tomorrow music video, which is crazy because I wasn't acting at the time. So I knew about that video because of that connect I made a year ago. You know what I'm saying? And people think that like, oh, you know, this isn't going to amount to anything. No, you never really know what little project that you did is going to get you. Like, you really have no idea. Exactly. And so I found out about that music video, which is funny because I was playing football at the time, and I was like, yo, I'm done with acting. Like, I don't care about this anymore. And I just messed up my hamstring, and literally a few days later, I got that email talking about the music video, and I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. How could that even, like...
How did this happen?
And so eventually, you know, we got in touch with it, and I'll be honest, I thought it was going to fall through because I'm used to things getting like up here and then falling through. Like when I was 12, I was signing a 100-page contract with an agent in LA. And I've never, until this day, I haven't been to LA. Until this day, I haven't been to LA. Like, that is how crucial and like serious this stuff is. And so I just felt like all the opportunities and all the close calls that it just was like, oh, you know, another thing's gonna fall through. It didn't fall through. You know, I met up with Preem, Boovie, Rick Wayne. Those three people like have really impacted my life just because of that one meetup.
All right, so what are you working on now?
As of right now, I'm not necessarily working on anything, but I do have an indie movie that's coming out this summer. Okay. It's called Savage Youth. It has my guy Drew from Everybody Hates Chris in it. Oh, so that's real tight. Yeah, that's one of my homies now. I got to do like a supporting actor role for that, which is pretty huge. I mean, considering I'm only like 18 years old. So it was a really huge like thing for me. And depending on how the film does and you know where it goes, it should be aired in Venice, Italy, I believe. So yeah, it'll be real tight being able to fly out there and watch a movie. So that's definitely something I'm working on. I also have a short film that's I believe it's going through the film festival phase right now. So a lot of film festivals are trying to accept it, and that's another thing I'm working on. That's called Black and Blue. Y'all be able to see a clip of that very soon. So.
It's Miriam Magazine. Closing up with my man Javoun. We just wrapped up a beautiful interview. Stay tuned.
Okay.